Knicks-Pacers. We didn't do a show yesterday, so what were some of your big takeaways from Indiana coming back, taking Game 6 on their home court?
There's a lot of encouraging stuff that we talked about. The biggest one to me, the X factor, so to speak, was Pascal Siakam. He notches 25 points, 14 of them come in the paint. And throughout this series, we had discussed the New York Knicks are down so many players, and not just down so many players, but so many big physical players that match up and can help take away from Pascal Siakam. What does this force New York to do? Well, Thibodeau has been forced to play more Deuce McBride lineups, more four guards and a big looks. And finally, we see Siakam take advantage of them. I thought his mismatch attacking was great consistently. When Josh Hart was on him, taking him to the hole. When Deuce McBride was on him, taking him to the hole. And even, once it makes everything go together, once he started taking care of these mismatches, he would get a double here and there. And, it allowed him to set up some easy plays, a dunk for Miles Turner in the game. Like, Siakam finally played how we needed him to. And I also thought they played really good defense on Jalen Brunson. Aaron Nesmith was phenomenal as always. Better defense from Tyrese Haliburton. That was some really big ones. And then my big question, Carson, and I don't know if this changes my gauge on my pick, because beating the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden in a Game 7 sounds damn near impossible. Like, I know they're down so many players. The pendulum swings a little bit without Josh Hart. And my question is, can the Knicks survive without Josh Hart? Like, he suffers an abdominal injury in this one. You're down Julius Randle. You're down Mitchell Robinson. You're down Bojan Bogdanovic. And now they've been down OG Anunoby. There's reports that potentially OG may be rushed back for this game. Carson, I want to give you some Josh Hart quick facts here. He's played every minute for 4 of New York's 11 games. He's averaging 42.6 minutes per game. He's the first player since Kevin Durant in 2014, 10 years ago, to average as many or more minutes per game. And in these playoffs, he's averaging the third most offensive rebounds, total offensive rebounds, That's behind Jokic and Hartenstein. Real quick trivia time sidebar, Carson. I want to show the people live. He's one of 2 players, 6'4" or shorter in NBA history, to average 2.8 offensive rebounds per game or more across multiple playoff rounds. Do you know who the other one is?
That's really interesting. So my first thought was we would go to like a great throwback rebounder, like a Paul Arizin or maybe a Big O, but they didn't have offensive rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
So Russ is not a great offensive rebounder. It's not Jason Kidd, is it? Well, he's probably listed at 6'5".
It's not Jason Kidd. This guy's more of a throwback, Carson, a little bit of a do-it-all guy. He's got some hardware for a small guard. Something rare, something that you don't see traditionally won by small guards or guards in general.
It's not Sidney Moncrief, is it?
Sidney Moncrief, Carson.
Wow.
The only other guy, 6'4" or shorter, to have, like, Josh Hart's impact has been huge, and I just wonder, is that finally going to be the dagger, man? My head has been spinning on this series. I do not understand this series at all. I hate predicting one-game formats. The Knicks and Pacers befuddle me, but the New York Knicks offensive rebound percentage in wins is 11% higher than their losses. 41.6% in wins, 30.6% in losses. Josh Hart has been crucial.
6%.
Dude, isn't that crazy? Even in losses, man, that's ridiculous.
But 42% of your own misses, dude.
Yeah. And Josh Hart has been crucial in that. Their offensive rating also takes a different hit. There's a lot of factors that come into it, but Josh Hart's injury is probably the biggest storyline, man. Like, I thought the Pacers played a much better basketball game in terms of their execution, but I really wonder if the Josh Hart injury swings the pendulum, man. It's another huge loss potentially for a team that is already down so many impact basketball players.
If Hart can't play, I don't know how I could in good conscience pick the Knicks to win.
Are you going to pick against the Knicks and MSG?
4 good basketball players. No. Don't put words in my mouth, because you know what I think, Logan? I think Josh Hart does play, because I think he's a warrior. And the fact that they're even saying that OG could play, if Josh Hart is on the floor, I would pick the Knicks. If OG is on the floor, I would confidently pick the Knicks. But yeah, it would be ridiculous just how many quality dudes they would be down without Hart. And Indiana played a really good basketball game in game 6. I expected them to take care of their home court. They've done it every single game in this postseason. They haven't lost at home. And that offense was just excellent, dude. And they're the number 1 playoff offense, as they were the number 2 regular season offense, but they were number 1 for quite some time. They also have a 68% assist rate in these playoffs, which is number 1. And you saw that on display again in this one. Phenomenal ball movement. They pushed, as they love to do, plus 11 in transition versus the Knicks in that game. And it wasn't so much about them knocking down a bunch of open threes, although they have done that consistently throughout these playoffs. To me, they put the defense in rotation, made the extra pass, created an advantage, and then there was a lot of great closeout attacking from Miles Turner, from Obi Toppin, from Andrew Nembhard, like all these dudes getting inside the arc and getting good looks in the paint. They had 62 points in the paint, so they were plus 24 there. And it was one of those games where everybody stepped up offensively. Just so many strong contributors. Siakam was excellent. As you mentioned, the star of the day, just bullying mismatches like that was phenomenal. He was going at Josh Hart, and that's what he has to do to try to make those small ball looks much less viable. The mid-range was going. The two-man game was going with him as a roller for either TJ McConnell or Haliburton. Really, really great game from Siakam, who has been pretty underwhelming throughout this series and really throughout the playoffs after that incredible start against Milwaukee in games 1 and 2. And I mentioned how many strong performers there were for Indiana up and down the roster offensively, but TJ McConnell is the one who just stands out again. I tweeted this today, dude. Per 36, not my favorite stat, because if a guy isn't playing 36 minutes a game, or if he isn't playing anything close to it, there's normally a reason for that, right? It's because he's not that good. However, TJ McConnell is quite good, and he's playing behind a great point guard. Regardless, it's not the best stat, but like he's averaging more than 20 and 10 per 36. He did that in the regular season, and he's doing that in the playoffs. Yes, Indiana plays at a crazy pace, but like the dude is just a playmaker. He's so quick, so persistent as a driver. He's so great in transition as a playmaker. There was one possession in this game where they just didn't stop the ball. He got all the way downhill and created a wide open catch and shoot 3. In the mid-range game, we know can be lethal. Like, shout out to that dude. That's the thing. Indiana just has way more weapons, as we know. And they dominated the glass in this game. They were plus 12 there. In New York, as much as they are at a size disadvantage, they just can't afford that. They have to be the team that is to every 50-50 ball. They have to be the team that is at least going even on the glass and ideally winning on the offensive glass, because that is their identity. So when I think about the Knicks formula in game 7, what they need to go right, they need to keep getting Deuce McBride involved, because he has been so good as a starter. And even though, as we mentioned, like Siakam was bullying them for going small, I think you live with that. I think you live with all of the advantages that you have with Deuce McBride on the floor, because you play faster. You have way more shot making. He has 37 points in these 2 games as a starter. You unlock all of the guard on guard screens that he has with Jalen Brunson that have been super difficult to guard. And he's just clearly one of their 3 best shooters. Like, I just want that dude on the floor. And you need superhuman Jalen Brunson. And he had a rough game, which is hilarious because he still ended up with 31, but like in the first half, it was really, really rough. I didn't hate the shots that he was getting, though. Like, we know Nesmith has done a much better job on him than Nembhard, but he was just missing some of those comfortable looks from mid-range where his bread tends to be buttered. And early, I thought even got a couple of great looks, attacking in semi-transition, getting downhill off of really high pick and roll. So I want to see them get some handoffs going for him where he can get a running start. I want to see some of that high pick and roll. And ultimately, I think you trust him to pull through as the best player on the floor, because even though there's been a little volatility in this series and in this playoff run, there's been a lot more great than there has been shaky. There's been a lot more of the 40 pieces than there has been the inefficient shooting nights. And I would ultimately bet on that. And then if they dominate the effort categories, like, I still lean the Knicks. Also, Madison Square Garden is just a massive advantage, but Hart's absence would be massive, because then you need Alec Burks to just be playoff Alec Burks times 20.
I mean, I wonder if you hit the nail on the head right there. Like, Josh Hart,
I probably did.
It has been the how humble. That was funny, man. This guy, Josh Hart has been, you know, the guy who has dominated the effort category. He has been, again, I hate saying this because it's so cliche, the heart and soul of the team. Yeah. It's like, can you win the effort category without Josh Hart? I mean, he is Captain Hustle. Like, I don't know. I really think they need him out there. Another weird number, Carson, that sticks out to me in the difference between New York wins and losses. This is courtesy of NBA analyst John Schumann on NBA.com. He does great work. They have an offensive rating of 131 in their wins. They have an offensive rating of 107.6 in their losses. Like, they have just ground to a standstill. And they've consistently dominated in their wins, man. In the first half of Game 6, Brunson's 2 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from the line. He turns it around, gets a 30-piece, is a much better second half, keeps this thing close. But, yeah, New York needs superhuman Jalen Brunson, and they need to dominate in the effort category. And I just think, I don't know, man. I would never bet against New York at home. I don't think I can pick it. I think that MSG is too big of an advantage to bet against, man. I think that place is going to be rocking, and I think it could swing the tide. But I don't know, man. I keep waiting for the Knicks' luck to run out, and I don't think it is, man.
You make your own luck, Logan. You make your own luck by fighting for every offensive board. Derek Lively showed us that tonight.
I love that. Can we put that on a shirt?
No.
I love that, man. That was inspirational, dude. That got me a little fired up.
Thanks, man.